Hello, welcome to the Lone Show. I'm your host, John Lone. In this episode, no regulars, cause reasons, as always. As for our guest, he's from Toronto, Canada. He is an author and a coach. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Fazin Mazinani.
Hello, hello. Very grateful to be here. Thank you for inviting me in here.
You're welcome. So, how's life?
Life is actually the best thing it can be. So that's my perspective.
Nice,
When
fabulous.
somebody asks you how's life, whatever you say determines whatever you experience. So it's a very crucial answer when you just giving talking to someone randomly. We have to be careful what we are talking about because whatever we answer, that's going to happen.
Yes, you're right, that's a good point. So, is there anything you're currently working on or up to recently?
Yeah, I'm on a couple of projects for spreading the awareness. Some people might ask, what is awareness? And to me, what I found out is that, are you familiar with the concept of just the race horsing? When the horses are in the race, they put those blinders around their eyes. So they can only concentrate on whatever it is in front of them. So, and that is the same thing that is happening to us. We are looking at life through a tunnel. Some people call it tunnel vision. But there are ways we can expand our vision. We don't need to narrow down our vision like that and keep it like that. There are ways that we can expand our vision. And as we expand it more and more, we discover more and more, which is existing right now in front of us, around us, that we might not be aware right now. So awareness is a beautiful thing. When we expand our consciousness, our experience starts to change. So that is what I'm trying to do, to come up with some techniques, tools, and things that can expand our consciousness as human species.
Exactly, yes. So, what kind of coach are you?
So sometimes I call myself joyfulness coach. And it might not be a word that is used a lot, but that is my personal experience. Since the time that I was 12 years old, I was looking for the answer to this question that what is the source of joy and happiness? And it led me through a long, long search. For 12 years, I was collecting books, reading books. I had more than 1,000 books in my personal library by the time that I was 24 years old, just to find the answer to that simple question. But believe it or not, after 12 years and thousands of books, I was even more confused because you cannot find those kind of things on the outside world. And I learned it a hard way. How? I just trapped myself after 12 years old of search. I was 24 years old. It was actually around 30 years ago. I trapped myself in a room and I told myself that I'm not going to come out this room unless I find the answer. And there was no window inside, so I turned the light off. I just wanted to face myself. I isolated all the lights and all the sound because I didn't want to be distracted. So I was sitting in the silence and I was practicing a couple of techniques that I knew by that time. But after a while, you don't know what time is it outside, if it's a day or night, because you lose the track of time because it's absolute darkness and absolute silence. You're facing yourself. So what happened was that I gave up on all the techniques that I knew. And I'm sitting in silence, and all of a sudden, an experience comes. And that experience started from my own heart. I felt a warm feeling in my heart, and it spread through all my body and cells. Felt that I'm shaking and sweating badly, and all of a sudden there was light and there was music that was inside me, not outside. So I realized that whatever that I was looking for on the outside world was actually inside me, inside my heart. So that was the first realization. The second realization was, at that time I felt connected to everything and everyone, and the other thing that I experienced was I knew the answer to all of the questions that I had. So I found out that our heart is more than just a physical organ. It is something that you can receive the answers to your questions through that as well. So it's a source of wisdom. And wisdom is different than knowledge, as happiness is different than joy. So I realized it in that moment, the differentiation between those words. And I came out of that room because I didn't need to stay there anymore. So that was a life-changing experience for me. And it was one of the breakthroughs that I had in my life at the age 24. And it started to develop from that point. Now I'm a joyfulness coach. It means that when I ask people, what do you want? They usually say this and that, whatever. Some people like to have nice cars. Some people like to have a beautiful house, a good relationship, or whatever, the good health. So when I ask them again and again why they want that thing, so if you ask somebody 7 times, usually after 7 times, they say that I want to feel good. So that good feeling is whatever that we want to have at the end of the day, you know. We want a good life because we want to have a good feeling. We want to feel good. So I said that instead of distracting myself with all those things, I'm just going to go to the source of all joy and start developing that for people, because that was something that I experienced myself.
Yeah, I can see that. And also, you said you were an author.
Yes, there is a story to becoming an author, actually. What happened was, it was last year in January, I went skiing and I was coming down off a steep hill, and then at the end of the slope it was a flat surface. So I am on that flat surface moving slowly, and all of a sudden nobody was around me, but all of a sudden I wiped out. I fell down, and with no reason. I couldn't figure out what was the reason that I fell down. And so I tried to get up. I couldn't, because my left arm was not working at all. So I couldn't move my arm. So I got up and came down, went to the hospital, and the doctor is trying to figure out what's happening. And he asked me a bunch of questions, and he sent me to MRI. And the result was, he said that you fractured your scapula. And I said, what is a scapula? He said that the scapula is a big bone in your shoulder and it's covered with muscles. And he said that that bone is very strong, very thick. And he said that I've only seen this kind of fracture in car accidents. How come you were able to manage to break your scapula when you were skiing? And I explained the situation, that it was not a big accident. I just fell down. And after 40 years of skiing, I consider myself someone who is skilled enough to not to fall down like that. But I don't know what happened, and that was odd. So he said that we cannot do much about it because it's covered with muscles. We cannot cast it. You're going to face that pain, which is very severe. And he gave me the strongest painkillers, and he said that it is you and these painkillers for 6 months. It has to be healed by itself. We cannot do much. So I went home and I said that I cannot use my left arm. but I consider life to be my friend, not my enemy. Because that was the perspective that I was developing during all those years, that life is my friend. So I said, I received something from life. It is ugly, but it means that it is a gift which is covered with an ugly paper, ugly wrapping, but it is still a gift that I received from life. So I said, what kind of gift is that? I have to dig down. So I said, what can I do now that I can't use my left arm, so I still can use my right hand? So I said that I'm going to be starting to write the book that was overdue for a long time because I never had a chance to just write it down. I had that in my mind that I have to write that book, but I never had a chance. So life gave me that chance. So I went to the basement and started writing, and something strange happened. What was it? As I started to write my book, I was spending 12 hours, 14 hours in a basement without eating anything, without sleeping and resting, and without feeling the pain. So that was the moment that I realized when you are so concentrated on something that you don't feel the pain, it means that you are in the flow state. You are in the state of flow and being in the zone, or whatever you call it. I knew about it mentally, but I never had a direct experience with that. And when you are in that state, you are writing something that is even new to you. So you are a channel for that information that is flowing through you. So I was in that state, and it took me about 2 weeks to finish the book. And I sent the manuscripts to the publisher, and the publisher said that with that kind of amount of writing that you sent us, it is not going to be fitting in one book, so we have to cut it down. So the process for editing my book was longer than writing my book. It took me about 2 weeks to write the book, but more than a month to be able to fit it in a book, and going through the editing process and so on. So that was the story for my book.
Wow, what a ride.
Yeah, it was right, and it was a roller coaster ride. But
Yeah,
if you think about it, even roller coaster, some people say that life is like a roller coaster, but it's a good perspective, because roller coaster, children or even adults go to those amusement parks to enjoy being on those rides. So we can enjoy the roller coaster of life. If we think about it that way, we can still enjoy it. Sometimes it's going up, sometimes it's going down, but it's just a roller coaster. Let's have fun with it.
yes, absolutely. I never thought of it that way. So, are there any jobs or opportunities that you haven't done yet that you would like to do someday?
Yeah, the opportunities is just to spread my message wider and to more people. That is whatever that I'm thinking about, because it's all about the perspective, Sometimes I ask people about, let's say, the definition of success. I ask them, what is success to you? What does success mean to you? And a lot of people say that success means reaching my goal. When I reach my goal, I feel successful. I tell them, with that definition, you are going to be miserable most of your life, because you are not going to be on top of the podium all the time. If you consider being on top of the podium to be successful, it means that you're miserable most of your life. Let's change that definition. That definition is not working for us. Let's change it. So I tell them, let's change it to this. Success means moving towards a worthy goal. When you're moving towards a worthy goal, you can consider yourself successful. And with that definition, you can consider yourself successful most of your life as long as you are moving towards your aspirations and goals, which are worthy to you. So sometimes changing the definition changes your life.
Indeed. And of course, you don't have to be the best at whatever it is you want to be good at. What's important is you got to where you want to be to begin with.
Exactly. So the process of one of the problems that people usually experience is the concept of perfectionism. So when you want to build a business or when you want to achieve something, when you want to do something substantial, sometimes because you want to be perfect at whatever that you want to achieve, it creates a barrier for you. And sometimes even that causes stagnation because we are scared to move towards that thing because we have the worry that we might not be perfect. But when we understand that the only constant in life is change, so everything is changing all the time. So it means that nothing is perfect. Everything is evolving. So we just have to ride the wave of life. So we don't need to be perfect. As long as we are riding the wave of life, we are in a position that we are expanding. And that is the most important thing. That's why book is about that. It's called Joyful Fix. How to break free from stagnation and move forward in life. So moving forward is something that sometimes we underestimate how important it is.
Yes, absolutely. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Yeah, that's a good question. Let's see. Some people say home is where your heart is. So with that concept, you can be location free. Because if you be able to expand your heart wide enough, wherever you are, you can be happy. You can have that kind of joy with you. So it doesn't matter where you are. So that eliminates location from our perspective. Because sometimes we feel that I have to be in that place or this place or something like that to be happy. But the thing is, happiness, or let's say it this way, joy is different than happiness because happiness depends upon outer circumstances, but joy comes from within. So when we have the source of joy, which is in our heart, open, and we can get access to it, then it's going to make us happy wherever we are. We don't need those outer circumstances anymore. So we can be location free. Wherever you are, you feel great.
Yes, I like that. Where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
So 10 years from now, I'm going to be impacting millions of people. I don't know how and I don't know why. I don't know in what way, but that is the perspective that I have.
Sounds great. What could you give a 14-minute presentation on without any preparation?
So I can give presentation on alignment. Alignment is an important thing. Why? Because if we are not aligned, we're going to experience the burnout. And a lot of people nowadays are experiencing burnout in their life. There are different aspects in life: health, wealth, relationship, and happiness. And there are like 4 tires of a car. If one of them is flat, what happens is that we cannot move far with that car. So those aspects are important. We have to pay attention to them. But sometimes we go through the burnout process. How? Because we want to get out of our comfort zone. Because we know that comfort zone is like moving on a circle and going to work and coming back and doing the things that we usually do, and we spend our time in our comfort state, and then all of a sudden we look back, our life is done and we haven't achieved anything, we didn't have any impact, no excitement, nothing. So in my book, I call it dynamic stagnation, that kind of process, getting stuck in the comfort zone. So people don't like to be in that state. So nowadays, a lot of people consider themselves high achievers. They want to expand themselves beyond that comfort zone. They want to achieve something. So what choices they have? The choices are limited, actually. One of the choices is going through the path of hustle and grind. Why? Because you have to fight your own subconscious mind. Because you are in the state that you are right now, and the state is the result of whatever programming you had in the past that brought you up to this point. If you want to change the direction, it's not an easy task to do. Why? Because imagine that you are in a train and the train is going south, and all of a sudden you decide to go north. You're still in a train, you move north inside the train. Where do you end up? South, of course, because the train is going south, even if you move north in the train. That is the difference between conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Subconscious mind is like that train. It's 1,000,000 times stronger than our conscious decisions. That's why we decide to do a lot of things, but at the end of the day, we end up wherever we started. So if we be able to battle our subconscious mind going through the path of hustle and grind, we might be able to win the battle, but with the scratches and wounds. So at the end of the day, we're going to be a wounded warrior. But we might lose the war. Why? Because a lot of people, I've noticed that they go through the path of hustle and grind. What happens to them is that because of a lot of stress and anxiety they went through to build a business or whatever that they are doing, they get health issues. They battle with health issues as they age. And some of them experience relationship issues. Why? Because that is the other thing, because we are stealing the time that we could spend with our loved ones to spend on developing whatever we were developing, a business or whatever. So we might have relationship issues. And the other thing is the happiness issue. Why? Because life is promising us that when we are on top, we're going to feel happy. And then they build a business, go stand on top of the success, and then they feel empty inside. And so those kind of things are the symptoms of a burnout. So my message is that we don't need to do that. We can go through the path of success with joy and ease instead of hustle and grind. And there are practical ways we can do it. And I have a 10-step process in my book. And usually when I'm talking to people in a podcast or somewhere, I summarize it in 3 steps so they can remember that. Do you want to know about that 3-step?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so it is not that complicated. It's just 3 steps. So first of all, we have to know that in order to build anything, it is not that we imagine something and then it appears in front of us. That's not enough. We have to do something. And what happens is that we have to break it down into smaller chunks, because it's like a building that you want to build. You cannot do it all at once. It has different aspects. It has structures, it has plumbing and electrical wires and whatever that is creating that building. There are different aspects. So you have to break it down into smaller projects, smaller tasks. And so that is what we do. We want to achieve a goal. We have to bring it down to action steps, tasks, needle moving actions, whatever that is moving us forward towards that goal. So we come up with a list. But the problem is, because it is called action step and it's called a task, it has a burden in. We don't like to do tasks. That is the problem. So I suggest that we change the name from task to game. Why? Because we are all wired to play game, and playing game is fun. Everybody likes to play game. So we change the name, we change the label from task to game. So we have those little games that help us to move forward toward our goal, whatever it is. And then what happens is that three-step process starts from when we plan for that game. So the first step is game plan. Game plan is at night, before you go to sleep. Our subconscious mind is wide open because we are in the alpha state. Our brain is receptive. What we do is usually we put a lot of crap into our subconscious mind before we go to sleep. All the stress and anxiety and fear and blaming and shame and guilt, whatever we have, we think about those things, our failures, everything, before we go to sleep. So we enhance those because our subconscious mind is receptive. So instead of that, I suggest we do it differently. We start the game plan right before we go to sleep. We think about whatever game we want to play the next day from that list that we have created, those little games. So we pick something or a couple of things, and then we sleep on it. What happens is that before you go to sleep, your mind is receptive, and then it's fresh. When you wake up, it's still fresh in your memory. And then when you wake up, it is the second part of the process, which is warm-up. I call it warm-up, or it's mental rehearsal. Before you even open your eyes, you start thinking about the game that you want to play and start playing it in your mind. And imagine that you are playing that game, whatever action it is that is labeled as game. So you imagine that you're doing it and you're having fun. You have all those positive emotions and you see yourself finish that game with a high mark or a score or whatever, and then you're happy. You just see yourself in there. So that is mental rehearsal, which I call warm-up. So that is the second part, that you are putting something valuable in your subconscious mind, because the second time the subconscious mind is wide open is soon as you wake up. And then what is the third part of the process? That is the fun part. It's just playing the game during the day. And then at night, you can evaluate your mark or a score or whatever and decide if you want to continue the same game or you want to change the game or whatever you want to do. The game plan starts again. And then you play that game day after day, and all of a sudden you see yourself at your destination. So it's an easy three-step process that I usually suggest people to play in order to bring the subconscious mind along the way with themselves. Because sometimes you decide something and your subconscious mind is somewhere else. We have all the fear of success and fear of failure and fear of change, and it prevents us from reaching our goal. But with that technique, the simple technique, three-step, what happens is that you bring your subconscious mind on board with you and you're moving in the same direction as your subconscious mind. So it's an easy ride. It's a joy ride. It's a ride that you can enjoy. That is called enjoying the journey of success. Everybody is talking about it, but nobody is giving you the clue how you can enjoy the journey of success. But I just gave you that.
Sounds very insightful. And that is all we have for this episode. It's great having you on, Farzan, talking about your work as an author, your origins as a joyfulness coach, And of course, the 3 steps you just mentioned, I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, very good. You know, yeah, it is something so simple. I encourage people to try it, and when they try it, if they communicate with me, I'm just gonna give them something that supercharges that process for them, so they get the results much faster.
Yes, absolutely. And until next time, stay tuned for more.